Like, it's at least something, you know? It's not the best in the world, but it's also not 32 fucking gigabytes. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. But yeah, also, let me know how volume is. If it's good, if I need to turn it down a little bit, let me know, chat.
Blazing Rants are a segment where I discuss topics related to the subject of video games and/or anime. It contains my raw biased opinion and is created for the purpose of your debate, examination, or discussion. Now that that's cleared up, let's begin.
Well, it certainly took them long enough. As of April 2nd, 2025, the Nintendo Switch 2 was fully unveiled to the world. This direct overloaded the public with waves of information, and naturally, everyone's got
Yeah, like the amount of information we got about the Switch 2 from this direct alone was absolutely staggering. It was absolutely crazy.
their own 2 cents about this new toy. I figured, just like 8 years ago, good lord, I'm getting old, I shall sift through this entire presentation and give you
Yeah,
my
he did do that
perspective
too
on the
about
showcase,
for the Switch
ultimately
1.
coming to the conclusion as to whether or not I think the Nintendo Switch 2 is currently worth the purchase. Please bear in mind, I'm tangentially basing my summary off what was exhibited during the Direct. I am aware that a multitude of sources have seen fit to broadcast supplementary information, and I will refer to them when applicable. Furthermore, you're more than welcome to update me in the comments regarding details I may potentially miss, for it's always good to see the full picture.
There's been some details, all right.
Before addressing the games. Aesthetically speaking, I feel the Switch 2 looks good. It's a simple upgrade, but I can vibe with the large screen, bigger Joy-Cons, and smoother edges. Plus, having magnetic grips and larger shoulder buttons is a most welcome alteration.
Yeah, especially for those who like only use the Joy-Cons for as their controller of choice, because you know a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford like the Pro controller now, which is I think now like $90. Like Jesus Christ. But yeah, I think the Switch 2 Joy-Cons being a little bigger and having larger shoulder buttons is very nice. Plus, the Joy-Cons being magnetic, I don't know. I still feel like I'm kind of on a double-edged sword with the magnetic Joy-Cons. I'd have to see how they, like, you know, actually work when I get my own Switch 2, but, you know, we'll just have to see about that.
I do hope Nintendo will put forth various colors and designs for the system and controllers in the future, for I always admire just how creative and colorful the Switch could look, and the big end has a history of snazzy console skins.
Yeah, Nintendo has a history of these console skins like this, and I really hope they do this for the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, because, you know, comparing the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 at launch, I'm pretty sure he's going to bring this up, but the Switch 2 just looks bland in comparison to the Switch 1, because at least the Switch 1 had red and blue Joy-Cons to go along with them, whereas it's all just like that matte black color for the Switch 2, and I don't know, it just, a console being a whole singular color like that, like especially with detachable controllers, I don't know, it just feels weird.
The Joy-Cons took up a large portion of the unveiling, as Nintendo seems
Though
to
I
be
do
very
like
proud of
how
the
the
controller's
colors
ability to be used
are
like
still
a
there on the
traditional
Switch
PC
2, with
mouse.
like on the
This
inside
had
of the
been rumored for a
Joy-Cons
while,
and
on paper,
around
it
the
sounds amazing.
joysticks.
But I'm a level with y'all. Every demonstration I witnessed came off as clunky and unintuitive. Granted, it might be a different situation with hands-on experience, and I could easily envision a game like WarioWare making great use out of them. As the situation stands, I have yet to notice any software that makes this function feel seamless.
See, yeah, I still feel a little conflicted myself about the Switch mouse controls, because like on the one hand, this could be really cool for like shooters like Metroid and Splatoon, but like he said, in the presentation, they did look a little bit clunky. Now, that might change, obviously, with hands-on experience, like he said. Yeah, it just looked unintuitive there, and I'm really hoping that's not the case, because I feel like mouse controls with the Switch 2, that feels like it's too good to be true sometimes, like, but like, that also just seems like a double-edged sword. You come to my channel, you watch my videos without hitting that like button and subscribing? Come on, man. Just do it. It's right there. It's free and helps the channel a ton. Or you're gonna be on my shit list.
I'm also not vibing with Nintendo Game Chat, for though this feature is perfectly fine, Nintendo's far too late to the party. The Xbox 360 and PS3
Oh
had this
yeah,
figured out
I
20
like
years
personally,
ago.
I'd just
Plus,
rather
I
use
wait till the
Discord for
majority of
this.
players
Like,
will
why
find
would
it
you use
impractical
Game Chat
to use apps like
when
Discord for voice and video
yeah,
chat.
like
Doubly
when
so since
Discord is just
Nintendo
better
service
in every
isn't
single
free,
way compared to
making
this
the
Game
feature
Chat?
overall
I just
fine,
don't
but
understand.
rather redundant. The same superfluousness applies to the camera, which I'm certain some people will get good use out of, but it's not for me. Game share amounted to a curiously brief segment, but
it also just feels like a money sink when most streamers and content creators just have their own webcams. And again, you can just use Discord. So I feel like Nintendo is way too late to the party here when it comes to that. But okay, game share. This was honestly really important to see, and he's going to explain it, but I absolutely adore this feature.
One I thought to be rather neat. It reminded me of DS Download Play, and while currently the
Yeah,
software
kind of. I can see the resemblance there.
A quaint application where friends and family members can sample games together.
Yeah, and when you only need one person with the game, and you could share it up to 3 other people who don't have the game, I just think that's a super neat feature, and I think more consoles should be paying more attention to stuff like that, because I just think it's really neat.
They also made it clear that the Switch 2 will not be compatible with regular microSD cards.
Which I do think kind of sucks. This kind of sucks right here, because now you're just pouring money into a brand new micro SD card to like just to be able to save your game's data. But I do get why Nintendo did it, because compared to like regular micro SD cards, express cards are faster for reading data. And that could mean faster loading times as well for games on that micro SD card.
Duh.
But I don't know. I just feel like this was kind of a greedy move by Nintendo. But at the same time, I do understand why they did it, to get faster reading times for your game data.
Only the Express variants are applicable. Some folks in my inner circle aren't happy about this, for many of their Switch games are saved onto an SD card. But I believe there is a way to transfer the data to a new system.
Yeah, they did talk about this. There were some sources that were saying, like, if you trade your Switch 1 in for your Switch 2, you're able to transfer your data onto like a like in one of Nintendo's servers, and then you could transfer that data from that server into your Switch 2. I don't know about this 100%. If anyone knows, please let me know in the comments, because I'm really interested to know how this would work if you've like already traded in your Switch 1, because I know some people have already done that just to pre-order the Switch 2. But yeah, no, I'm just very curious to how that works with like going into a server and then transferring the data to Switch 2. It's a neat feature, but I'm not sure just yet.
I'm honestly shooting blanks regarding this segment, so if y'all could clarify the specifics, that would be most splendid. While data is the topic of discussion, Nintendo confirmed that the Switch 2 will have a base memory of 256 gigabytes.
Thank
8 times as much
God
as the
for
original
that.
Switch. I'm admittedly torn on such
Like-
an announcement. From the very start, I was disgusted with how little
Like, thank God, because the Switch 1's internal storage was absolutely atrocious. It was so bad. Though I can understand why he might be torn about this, and some other people as well, as he might explain. But I just think it's really nice to get at least some more data into your internal storage. Like, it's at least something, you know? It's not the best in the world, but it's also not 32 fucking gigabytes. Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
memory space the Nintendo Switch had. Thus, I'm relieved that we are granted vastly more initial storage.
Yeah, thank God.
However, given how excessively large game file sizes are becoming, paired with the fact that Sony and Microsoft tend to start at 500 gigabytes, I believe the Switch 2 should have also had a 500 gigabyte hard drive. A counterpoint to my concern is that Nintendo are consistently good at making their game file sizes rather small, so we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from there, because, like, you know, the PS5, the Xbox Series X, they're up to like 500 gigabytes and 1 terabyte worth of space for your games, where 256 gigabytes seems like not that much at all, especially because game file sizes are starting to get a lot bigger. But Nintendo is really good at being able to compress their file sizes into lower overall game file sizes, like they just showed, like Legends Arceus, 6 gigabytes.
Be good at making their
Xenoblade Chronicles 3, that's a really big game, and somehow they were able to scrunch it up to 15 gigabytes.
game file sizes
And Smash Ultimate, you know, a game with like a buttload of content, down to 17 gigabytes. So they're really good at compressing their data to make for small file sizes like this, but we'll just have to see, because like we've already confirmed some file sizes for some of the launch games. Like Cyberpunk is like 64 gigabytes. I think they said Mario Kart World is like around 25 gigabytes. Donkey Kong Bonanza is like 20 or something. So we'll just have to see how this goes.
Rather small, so we'll have to just wait and see. I apologize for being insipidly negative about the Switch 2 so far, but on a more positive note, I'm delighted that the Switch 2 offers 4K resolution and higher FPS even when undocked. I've never been
that's absolutely
but I always appreciate a good-looking game that runs
But yeah, that's
smoothly.
absolutely
While the
huge.
Switch certainly has some stellar-looking titles such as Metroid.
Because like, okay, so I for one prefer smoother gameplay over more realistic looking graphics, but you know, Nintendo is able to make games like this look great and they can be so smooth. I'm honestly all for that. We'll just have to see with hands-on experience if it like actually is 4K.
Prime Remastered and the Xenoblade games, this system chugged like a motherfucker even on a good day, and the less said about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet the better. Being able to play
Don't
games
remind
at much
me.
higher resolutions and stable frame rates is long overdue, and I'm overjoyed at such a prospect. In fact, Nintendo brought mention to a number of Switch titles which shall receive enhancements when played on the new system. Currently, 6 Nintendo Switch games will receive Switch 2 exclusive
Yeah,
upgrades.
one of them being
The
Forgotten
concept
Land. Let's
radiates
go,
significant
baby.
merit. But unless you already own the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass, these upgrades aren't free, with prices that currently aren't listed. Fingers crossed it's no more than $10.
Now, this has been confirmed by now, but it depends on the game. So like some games that have new content, like Super Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby in the Forgotten Land, those are $20 upgrades, which I personally am a little annoyed about that because I think that is just Nintendo being absolutely greedy. And then you got others like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. I believe those are $10 upgrades, which isn't too bad. But I don't know. I just feel like these upgrades should be like at least free or under $10, like how PS5 does it with the PS4 games.
Free, with prices that currently aren't listed. Fingers crossed it's no more than $10. Now, I'm not against paying a small fee for a better performance and new content. My concern lies in that these improvements aren't made equally. For example, Mario Party and Kirby get better performance and new modes/levels, while Pokemon and Zelda only receive higher frame rates and some very minor quality of life features. I shall require more concrete information before solidifying my opinion. For real though, I would happily give both my kidneys to play Prime 4 in 4K. Fuck me, it looks so good! That covers the system itself.
Yeah,
Overall,
he's a Metroid fan.
I'm cool with it. Some of the new features don't look particularly appealing to me or have been executed better elsewhere, though the improved performance and greater storage thankfully resolve some of the predecessor's biggest issues. Before moving on, I must address the fact that we were not shown any demonstration of the Switch 2 menu screen or the Nintendo eShop. This has me worried. For the Switch's menu,
There were
while
some
functional,
screenshots
I find to be
about
very boring
the
and lacks the charm of
Switch
3DS
2 home
Wii
menu
interface
in like some
radiated.
advertisements.
Plus, the eShop has been pathetic
And
since day
it's
one.
it's
Thus,
honestly
I'm
just
hoping
pathetic.
Nintendo will address some of these concerns and
But I
showcase
really
both
hope the Switch 2
applications in the near
eShop
future.
isn't also as
Now
pathetic
we
as the
shall
Switch
shift gears
ones.
into software, starting with Mario Kart World. You honestly can't go wrong with Mario Kart, and we already know
Absolutely
about 24
not.
racers on the track. Yet they somehow managed to
Look.
still wow me with the new course.
So I know a lot of people are mad that Mario Kart World is $80, but personally, I really could give less of a fuck. Mostly because we knew the price increases were coming because like, come on guys, inflation is a thing. I don't know. I feel like games were going to eventually become $80 or start to become $80. So like, I know it is shocking that Nintendo is the first to like raise the price up like that, but I really hope that the game is actually worth $80 so that we can just point and laugh at those who said it wouldn't be worth it.
Courses which look incredible. Being able to change costumes during the race is pretty radical.
But yeah, no, this
Plus,
looks
some of the
this
new
looks
mechanics
really
like
good.
climbing on
I'm
rails and
really
other
excited
surfaces
for Mario Kart
complements
World.
the now open-ended approach to racing. I can't wait to witness what kind of shortcuts and other exploits players can come up with. The speedrunners are gonna lose their shit. Their next first-party demonstration was Welcome Tour. Based on what was presented, I
Now
got the
this is an
impression that
absolute
this
fucking
meant to
joke.
be an
I
interactive
despise
demo,
this
one
piece
that
of crap,
simultaneously
dude.
conveys vital
This thing is
information about the
$10,
Switch
and
2,
I'm just
the
like,
several
no,
minigames
f
that
off.
establish what can be performed with the system and Joy-Cons. Personally speaking, I'm cool with having tech demos of sorts to allow players to understand the hardware. it worked wonders.
Yeah,
for
like
Wii
it's cool to have tech
Welcome
demos,
to
but
a
why
thing
the
that is
fuck
being
is it
purchased as
$10? Why
Feels
do we
like
have to
there
pay
isn't enough
money for
content to warrant
this?
it being a
It
standalone
makes no
title. I
fucking
said the
sense.
same
Like,
thing
get
with
the
One to
hell out of
Switch,
here.
Unless the former is rather inexpensive, I don't see myself paying a premium for a sampler. After that, there was Drag X Drive, a sports game that was based around using the Joy-Cons in a Rocket League-style 3v3 competition.
This looks
I think
okay.
the game looks solid, but as I previously
I
mentioned,
personally
the
won't
Joy-Con
get
mouse
this.
function remains awkward.
It
Thus, I would
because like the
require
controls
hands-on
of
experience
using the
or
mouse
having
look
any
awkward for
legitimate
both
interest. After these
Joy-Cons.
proof of concepts had their time
And
to shine,
I don't know. I
third-party
just think it looks
developers did a
okay.
substantial convocation of all the titles coming to the Switch 2. Generally speaking,
Hi, Kumika. How you
my
doing?
opinion is mixed. For I
Good to
have
see you.
served
Hope you're
versus
having a
offerings to
lovely
be ported,
Thursday night.
Which is a little lame if you own other systems.
We're just
But
chilling
with that
tonight
said,
and
these are some
just reacting
pretty
to some
fucking
YouTube
amazing
videos.
ports. They began with Elden Ring, which is one of the
Oh
best
yeah,
games
the
in recent
Switch.
years. We now have Street
The
Fighter
Switch
6
2
on the Switch
ports
2
look
with
absolutely
amiibo support.
incredible,
One
dude.
of the greatest 3DS games, Bravely Default, is getting a remaster. Daemon X Machina received a
Yeah, I lost
sequel.
my shit at
If
Bravely
not
Default.
Hades 2, there was a brief Hollow Knight Silk Song showcase.
You monsters.
And Hogwarts Legacy are arriving on this handheld. Yakuza 0 is about to make a name for itself. The Switch 2 is strong enough to run Cyberpunk and the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Sweet lord, that is a great lineup. Even if most of these games
That's a
are
great
relatively
third-party
old.
lineup to
In
start
between this third-party
for the
promenade,
Switch 2.
Nintendo gave us a look at Age of Imprisonment, the next game in the Hyrule Warriors sub-series. Now, I loved the first Hyrule Warriors, but skipped Age of Calamity since I didn't vibe with Breath of the Wild. Currently, I have yet to play Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, like I have yet to play Tears of the Kingdom, so I don't know what to say about Age of Imprisonment. I've played through some of Breath of the Wild because like I'm not the biggest Zelda fan. I played some of Breath of the Wild, some of Age of Calamity, and I don't know how I'm feeling if I'm gonna get Tears of the Kingdom or not. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe with the Switch 2 and I get the Breath of the Wild upgrade, I might be able to you know, maybe give it another shot.
Thus, I shall not concern myself with Imprisonment for now. Up until this point, I felt the Switch 2 Direct had been good, but nothing jaw-dropping. So, leave it to Nintendo to get the hype train chugging once again, for GameCube games were added.
Oh
and
yeah,
Switch
Nintendo
Online
GameCube
expansion pass
Online. Let's
exclusively for the
go,
Switch 2.
dude.
I dreamed of this
I
announcement
fucking
for years.
love that they're
Though the
bringing
may not be
GameCube
my
Switch
favorite
Online.
Nintendo system, it was home to so many fantastic
Me too, I like
titles,
hiding.
many of which never got
Yeah.
re-released. And due to low sales, the majority of exclusives are very expensive. Having
Yeah, no
access to
kidding.
Such a rare digital library is truly
So
magnificent.
thank
In
God
terms
for
of offerings,
GameCube coming
while
to
the
Switch
Wii U version
Online.
is better, Wind Waker remains a great game. Soul Calibur 2 is one of, if not the best fighting games of all time, and this is the peak version thanks to the inclusion of Link. And finally, F-Zero GX is fast-paced racing action at its finest, and now we can play it online, which is nuts, provided the netcode isn't dog shit. The cherry on top of this lunchbox is the fact that we're getting Chibi Robo, both Pokemon Colosseum and XD, as well as Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, among other titles. If anyone watching this video plans on purchasing a Switch 2, I highly recommend procuring the expansion pass for access to these fantastic titles.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing. Definitely gonna be buying the expansion pack because I already have a Switch Online membership, but I will get a discount once I get the expansion pack. But I'm trying to wait as long as possible till I like absolutely need it.
Once the hype died down, more third-party offerings were put forth, and the final game of this segment was Dusk.
Oh yeah, a
developed by
From Software game.
Currently, nothing is confirmed, but many people wager this to be a spiritual successor to Bloodborne, one of the best games of all time. If this
Yeah,
ends
I
up being
definitely should.
correct, I think we may have a potential system seller on our hands. The last two
Oh,
games
yeah,
of the
that
Direct
looks
were offerings
great.
from Nintendo. The first being Kirby Air Riders.
Which-
Now, I never
Yes,
played Air
dude.
Rider on GameCube,
Yes.
but I knew it
I'm
boasted
so
a
excited for
strong
Kirby Air
following and
Riders
was
because I
considered
grew
a
up with
hidden
Kirby
gem.
Air Ride.
I think this
So
could be a
I am
wonderful
genuinely
alternative to Mario
so
Kart, and
excited
another
for
feather in
this, and I
Kirby's
cannot
cap, doubly
wait
so since
to play
Sakurai himself is
multiplayer.
directing. The final game Nintendo gifted to us was Donkey Kong Bonanza. I've said for
Yes,
a long ass time,
like
that we
finally,
needed new Donkey
a
Kong
brand
game
new
with
3D
topical
Donkey
praise was
Kong
incredible.
game.
But for the big ape to get another 3D platformer 25 years after DK64, this shit is nuts. Plus,
Yeah,
the
it's
adventure
been a
gives us
while
serious
since we've had a
Mario
3D
Odyssey
DK
vibes,
game.
which is a win-win on every front. And so concludes the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Overall, I thought it was a great presentation. Not the best one I've ever seen, but it divulged vast amounts of information.
It was a really good
with a
presentation.
surplus of spectacular announcements. That does beg the question though, will I get the Switch 2? Well, I'm almost convinced to get the system. In terms of the console itself, it's good. I'm not fussed about the game chat, camera, Joy-Cons and so on, but I can still play games on and off the TV like before, plus being docked at 4K and better performance across the board is a huge win in my book. The extra memory space is much needed, and I'm curious
The
about
DK rep
Switch
still
2
plays in your head. Yeah,
upgrades.
me too.
As far as software is concerned, that's where I'm a little iffy. For personally, I feel the Switch 2 currently doesn't contain enough new games for me to purchase the system at launch. I stand by the initial
I can
software
see
lineup
that.
being exceptional. Elden Ring and Street Fighter 6 alone are a win, plus GameCube Switch Online speaks for itself. There are furthermore a number of exciting new titles like Dust Blood and Donkey Kong, but none of those games are releasing when the Switch 2 goes live. I already own the likes of Elden Ring on other systems, and though I love Mario Kart, I'm not dropping over £400 just to play it day one. And well, I might as well address the colossal elephant in the
I
room
can see that.
concerning the pre-launch price of the system and games. Let's be real here, peeps. Gaming ain't cheap. Never has been, never will be. But the Switch
True.
2's upfront cost seems to be all over.
A lot of people just do not understand that gaming is not cheap. It's never been cheap. Never has been cheap since the 80s and never will be cheap. But let's see what he has to say. Casey, yeah, look at these price ranges. They're all over the place. Like, hold on, let me hide my PNG Tuber model real quick. So like, look at that. In Canada, I know it says euros because the video I'm watching, this person's from the UK, but like 629 euros. In America, it's like $500, $450, and in Australia, New Zealand, it's $700. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a big yikes there, especially for the like regions of the world that don't have as strong of a economy.
Over the place due to how regional economics and tariffs work. I myself am based in the UK, and currently the Switch is listed at £395, $430.
Oh, not euros, pounds. I'm stupid.
From the start, I had a feeling the Switch 2 would be around £400. But when looking at how much Nintendo was charging
I
for most
kind
of
of
the games and other
expected the
accessories, it's starting to raise a bunch of red flags.
I expected the
and places
Switch
like the
2
US
to
have
be
it worse when the tariffs
$450.
started being put in place. For as great as the Switch was, during that generation, Nintendo
So
did
at
become
least we
noticeably more
do
money-hungry.
have
These
good
current
news
prices seem
with
to be a
the
combination of
tariffs
set
that
free.
they've been
Now, I
on
completely
pause
understand that the
for like
world
a few
economy has
months.
been shit for a
So
while now, and game development is becoming
the
increasingly
Switch 2's price
expensive.
should
Yet
stay
these
the
prices
same
the
for
Switch 2 and all that's
at least a
associated with
couple
it
months
do
after
seem
its
to be a bit
launch.
much, considering what is currently being offered. Once the system receives another exceptional new exclusive, then I'm defo sold. Give me the FE4 remake and I'll buy 20 of them. For now, I'm happy to wait till there's at least a Prime 4 bundle. I truly believe that the Switch 2 is fixing many of its predecessors' flaws.
Yeah, I definitely see that bundle happening.
So hopefully no Joy-Con drift, we can run games properly and are receiving some truly excellent AAA titles. GameCube's coming back, and even old Switch games have been granted a boost. Nintendo has almost got it, but the price of the system and its games,
Yeah,
the
they're
otherwise
like so
unimpressive gimmicks in
close
voice
here.
chat,
They're
plus
so
the lack of
close.
information regarding the UI makes it so that I'm not
But
quite
it's
ready
just the
to adopt
decisions
OG
around the
Switch
little
permanently.
things that's breaking them here.
Thank you all for watching today. I hope you had a great time and enjoyed the video. Also, please excuse the sound of my voice. I'm currently recovering from a cold. Let me know what y'all thought in the comments. How do you feel about the Switch 2 and
Yeah.
that was showcased during
So-
the Direct?
So I feel like my thoughts on the Switch 2 are pretty much encapsulated by what my friend said right here. I'm like almost convinced to buy the Switch 2. Like he said, if there's like one more massive exclusive that comes to Switch 2, then I'm definitely buying the game. But I feel like at launch, especially since how many have been sold at launch, I just don't think it's going to be worth it at launch.